Hey everybody, it's the Dreamers Podcast here, and I'm Super Joe Pardo, and did I mention this is the Dreamers Podcast?
I'm awake now, and yes, you did.
Yes, we need to be awake, even though we are very tired tonight, but that's okay. It's the late edition of the Dreamers Podcast pre-show where we live record on Facebook at facebook.com/superjoepardo. It'll also be on Facebook, which is superjoepardo.com/tube. Apparently I need to get like 100 followers or something to get my own youtube.com/superjoepardo. So we're going to get there. So if you go to superjoepardo.com/tube, hit that subscribe button, hit that like button on this video when I get it uploaded, or just go check out Super Joe Pardo. .com right there, and go check out the site. It's a wonderful site, lots of blog posts, and we have a ton of topics again here on episode 235. I'm joined by my co-host Matt. Unfortunately, Ava is sleeping because it is 9:45 and it's like past like all of our bedtimes already. Matt, how you doing, man?
I'm doing pretty good. I was just talking with my friend Kyle Turk. I hadn't heard from him in a while. He was showing off the HTC Vive.
The Vive.
And so
we were vibing?
We were vibing. Had some neat virtual reality stuff going on there. It's pretty cool. I definitely interested in checking it out more, but it's just neat to see somebody move around in that 3D virtual space while I'm sitting there clicking away on the old-fashioned mouse and keyboard and
feeling like you're in the Stone Age.
Feeling like very much like Fred Flintstone at that point.
I would imagine that you would, considering that you could actually see his helmet and his hands, and it looked like something out of the Mr. Hand from Super Smash Brothers.
Yes.
Running around in there. Anyway, so Dreamers Podcast, man, it's been a heck of a week. There's been quite a few things that happened in the last week. In fact, that's one of the reasons why we're here live, start at like 9:45 at night. First, I want to talk about Movie Mail. If you haven't heard about Movie Mail, go check it out. It's MOVY mail.com. It's $10 a month. You sign up and become a member, and it's you become part of our community where you're mailing analog letters like this envelope here. You send an envelope out to Movie Mail, and then we take your letter and we send it off to another Movie member. How cool is that? Now you're going to receive your own Movie Mail later on in the month from another Movie member. I said Movie member quite a few times, but that's okay. It doesn't matter. You're going to receive an awesome, inspiring, motivational letter envelope with all kinds of stuff in it, whether it's these silicone wristbands or buttons or pins or a letter or an inspirational story, something. You're going to receive stuff from another member, and it's really awesome. Go check it out, moviemail.com. I forgot to mention my guest, Nicole Bogard. She is a entrepreneur. She's a traveler. She's done all kinds of speaking stuff. She's awesome. Absolutely awesome. I got a big shout out to my boy David Michael for hooking me up with her to have her on the show. So if you stay till after the jump, after the pre-show, after this live video cast that we're watching, well, I'm watching, Matt's not watching, you're watching in the camera or on your TV or your TV. Does anybody watch anything on TV anymore?
Game of Thrones.
Yeah, I guess you would watch it on the TV unless you're streaming it on your computer. But anyway, point is you're watching it on some kind of device, most likely, just like you're watching us right here. Yeah, so go, stay tuned after the pre-show for Nicole Bogard. So, Matt, I got a bunch of topics to talk about this week, and of course, we gotta try to get to our dealing with procrastination. We've been really bad about it, and maybe that's kind of the point. I'm not really sure, but okay, so I want to talk about being the best. Matt, are you the best?
I am the best in certain categories. Sure. I know I wouldn't say I'm the best at everything, but there's always room for improvement.
So, to me, being the best isn't about titles or recognition. It's about knowing that you're doing the absolute best job that you can do. When you look in the mirror and you know that, like, this is what I can put forward. This is the absolute best product And by product, I don't mean a physical product or a service. I mean the best version, the best representation that you are capable of giving yourself and to everybody else around you today. We're not perfect. I don't expect anybody to be perfect. But what's important is that we do our best and that we be the best that we can. And even if we don't have that title, titles don't make everything, regardless of what the corporate world would have you believe that it means everything to everyone. And I just realized that I don't have my light up on here. So yeah, we're gonna talk a little bit about that. You and I, Matt, we think that we think that we're doing the best that we can when we do it, but sometimes that always isn't the best that we could be doing. So sometimes we need to ask other people, to get an opinion, because in our minds we can internalize things where it's like we think we're saying one thing and it's coming out like another thing, because we have I think we've talked about this before, tone and inflection, right?
Right, and that's one of the problems with text messages, is that you lose that tone, you lose the inflection. And I had a couple examples myself where somebody says something in a way I perceive as being like, negative, sarcastic. But again, you got to remember it's a text message. There is no no emphasis put on it. It's just like in your own mind how you're interpreting something.
Now, hold on there, Matt, because actually in my mind, there's been times where using the text or the talk to text feature has saved me, because you know what? I might have been very upset or mad or something like that. And when I say it to Siri into my iPhone, she doesn't know. She doesn't get inflection or tone. So it just comes out like I just said it, like, oh, this is how it, this is how it is. But really, I'm saying it in a pretty nasty tone because I'm very mad or very upset or very frustrated with a lot of things going on right at that moment. And then it's almost like a filter. It's just like, whoop, whitewashes the whole thing and just makes it sound like, oh, I just said thank you and you're welcome. And that's it. And so I can see what you're saying, where it's like there's that problem where we don't always get to have that. With text messages, it's hard to read sarcasm. It's hard to read nastiness in text messages. So sometimes we'll infer it if we know the person and we know that they're generally not a nice person. We can infer that, and I would encourage you to try to not do that. But what I will say is that the opposite can be very true when it comes to having it tell you, or having it decipher what cutting through what you actually mean to just giving the facts. It's just the facts. It's supposed to be like what news is, but the news isn't the news anymore. It's opinions and stuff like that.
Right.
So, but that's because we're human, right? And that's, I guess, the beauty of it. Now, we might lose that when Siri or these assistants, digital assistants, get better and can pick up on sarcasm and all that, and then it could bleed right through and make it not good. Good.
It's an iOS update away, so
yeah, it is, and it's a scary thing, but it's okay. So the point is that we as people need to look ourselves in the mirror, look at what we're doing, look at what we're putting out into the world. And it doesn't matter if we have the title to go along with it, as long as it's like that saying, right? It's like, don't dress for the job you have, you dress for the job you want. I mean, there's extremes to that, right? Like you show up and you're like the janitor. Janitors don't show up in suits, but if you did, you would take note of that janitor.
Oh yeah, definitely make an impression.
It would. It would.
Like, that guy shouldn't be the janitor. Should be doing something else. Look at the way he's dressed.
Exactly. And then maybe somebody picks up on it, and next thing you know, you're not the janitor anymore. I don't know, but with that said, I'm wearing a Muppets T-shirt to do a podcast that talks about entrepreneurship and life in general and dreaming. So, but that's because the guy that made the Muppets, he knew what he was doing. Even when he didn't know what he was doing, he knew what he was doing.
Oh, it never hurts to have a prop. Like my sister was telling me a story the other day. She was out at the bar, and this guy was going around trying to get girls to talk to him. And he was offering them gummy bears if they would speak with him. So my sister said, "I don't like gummy bears," and he was like, he had a whole conversation all ready for that. He's like, "Oh, you don't like gummy bears? That's very interesting." He just went through this whole spiel. So instead of getting rid of the guy, she actually wound up, getting engaged in a conversation. All because he had those props, and how much easier that makes for him. And also, he stands out. It's like, "Oh yeah, it's the gummy bear guy."
Right. Well,
it
gives you a talking.
It's
point.
a great opener. It's an icebreaker.
It is without being creepy.
Right. Or if you had come in like a suit or some kind of funky hat, also, it would have been the same effect.
Well, you stand out, right? And sometimes we don't want to stand out. It depends on the situation. But if you're trying to go out there, if you're trying to be the peacock, right, and you're like fanning out the feathers, or even the turkeys, we see the turkeys running around here. If you want to be that turkey, and you want to obtain the goal that you're setting for yourself, in this case it's to go get a girl to talk to you, then you need to have something that stands out, and that's something like so I was speaking at the Kittypreneur Expo, and it was pointed out to me. It's funny, I don't know if I mentioned this last week, but I got two separate conflicting arguments for why I should have been dressed up nicer, or why wearing my #HadADream shirt on all social networks shirt was good. And one person pointed out that, like, oh, this guy, well, Matt was wearing a red shirt, I'm wearing a red shirt. We look like we're matched. We look like we're working there because we're matching. We're not working there. But it's like pointing out, like, oh, well, this guy must be somebody because we went over there and we helped kids get their balloon. One of the kids get their balloon down. Right. And then the next thing, the contrasting thing was you should wear a suit because it's expected that you're supposed to be an authority and all that. But the thing is that is my suit. Like that's me, and that's me being me being different from all these other people that would just wear a suit and be complacent with that. And again, there's a time and place for that, but not every situation necessarily calls for that. Again, going to the White House or going to be the rock star that you are. And that's the thing. Everybody can be that rock star that they are inside of them. It's just a matter of having the confidence to say, this is who I am. And I'm not for everybody. I'm not. And we have it's tough because we want to be accepted. We want to be loved. We want to be taken in. We want people to look at us and think, oh, so, like a certain way about us. And not everybody's going to think that, that's just the way it is. But if you have the confidence to stand there and not feel out of place, because you put yourself in that situation when you feel out of place, and people can feed on that. They eat on it. Like, oh, he knows he's underdressed. Oh, he thinks he could show up and look like in a t-shirt and jeans when everybody else is all just like, yeah, you know why? Because I'm the guy that's there. I'm the guy that's speaking, and I got the confidence to do it. To be me. Right. I mean, having the confidence is the biggest thing. I mean, if you go in there, you got the nicest suit in the world, but if you're not comfortable wearing that suit, I mean, that's the part that's going to stand out. It doesn't matter how nice you look. People are going to see that you're nervous, and it's going to affect their first impression. And from there, it's a real uphill struggle to try and get your point across and, to get people to notice you in a positive light. So, and plus, in your situation, again, it's not necessarily peacocking, but it is looking different than everybody else. Like if 10 people in the room, 9 people show up in suits, this one guy shows up with a shirt and a hashtag, the attention's focused on you. That's true. True. And again, sometimes you don't want that attention, and that's okay. You have to know the situation, and you have to know that in yourself that you're confident enough to be like, I'm going to be that 1 out of 10 guys that doesn't show up in the suit. I'm going to be the 1 out of 10 guys that has a hashtag that, a hashtag How to Dream on his shirt. I'm going to be that guy with books that don't look like every other professional-looking book on the shelf out there. So that's the part of the confidence that you need to be exuding, and not just confidence, but belief in yourself, belief in your product, belief in what you have, passion and compassion for what it is, the message that you want to bring out to the world. And that's really what it's all about. So being the best isn't about titles or recognition. It's about knowing that you're doing your absolute best, and that That's it. There is no, you're not compromising yourself. Again, I like to go back to Steven Tyler. I hate to beat up on him, but like, you wouldn't expect him to show up in a suit.
No, you wouldn't. And, the guy, that's part of his image. I mean, Steven Tyler looks like Steven Tyler, who doesn't quite dress like anybody else I know. but it works for him, or maybe
just like your grandma.
Or maybe he makes it work. You know what I mean? Not just anybody could pull that look off. Or like Slash with that giant hat he walks around with.
The giant hat. I wonder if he like super glues that to his head or something.
That's a good question.
I mean, I would think that a bit hat that big must be tough to keep on your head.
Get him on the podcast, we'll find out.
Yes, we will, because I will definitely ask. I will definitely ask him. So next topic that I have, man, a lot of people hate drama. Like a lot of people, and they try to avoid it at all costs. Now, for me. This isn't, I don't want to paint with like a huge brush, but in my experience, a lot of times, not every time, but a lot of times, those people that try to, I hate drama. I try to stay away from drama. I'm beating drama away with a bat, those people tend to draw the most drama to them. And not because, like, I don't know if it's because of the people that they pal around with or that they associate with, or if they're just creating the drama even though they're saying that they don't want drama, and that's fine. That's not what I'm getting at. My point is, I actually welcome some drama into my life. A lot of people will be like, no, like, but at the end of the day, it does kind of keep life interesting. It does. It gives you something to talk about. It gives you something. Now, that's not to say that I want to base like everything I do or the people I know around how much drama they can like. Oh, let's make this interesting. But you know what? I accept that drama is part of life. It's just a part of something that we have to deal with as people and as social people, as social. Butterfly, not even butterflies, but just the social creatures, right? So for me, I actually welcome a little bit of it. It keeps things interesting. It keeps, and the other thing is that drama teaches us lessons. If we're willing to listen, there is plenty of, and we got bugs flying around here and everything. If it had the doors open a lot today and yesterday. If you're willing to listen to what's actually being said and the situations that are being said, you can learn a lot from those people, from the situations, their experiences, your experience with dealing with those people, like or not those people, but the people, the drama with the people with the drama in the situations at the time. So there's a lot that can be learned. And it's important to me, it's always important to see it from every perspective. As many perspectives as you can take in, those are the perspectives you should be learning from. So I just was thinking about this the other day, and I really think, I kind of welcome a little bit of drama. What about you, Matt?
On the opposite, I prefer to be low drama, but you did make a good point about the people we attract or the people we spend time with might be more drama prone. Like, there's certain people I'm thinking of, maybe the majority that I hang out with or might go on a date with it's real straightforward, no drama, real low key. And there's a couple people I can think of that I cannot go out and not have something happen. Usually something negative. Now, it does make for a better story, and as long as you can kind of laugh about it after the fact, that's okay. And certainly that's going to be very memorable. But on the other hand, it's like, I just wanted to go out and have a good time. I didn't need all the craziness that you seem to be attracting and that they thrive on for, I guess, just liking the attention, the and creating the drama. But again, that's I'm the opposite. So I prefer low drama. You prefer more drama.
Well, more drama than no, or so low to mild. But maybe medium. There are definitely not spicy.
There are certain people though that thrive on the or that need that drama, that need that the adrenaline rush of gotta do something wrong or say something crazy and and then step back and watch the sparks fly.
That would be true. That would be true. Okay, so I was driving I was driving somewhere over this past week. I forget where. And I had this epiphany because I remember I was at the Kittypreneur Expo and I was thinking to myself, or I wasn't even thinking to myself. I was talking to one of the kids there, one of the teenagers there, and she thought I was 23 years old, and I was like, oh no, I'm a bit older than that. And I made the comment, and actually it's a silly comment. I made the comment about the idea. It's like, well, if I had started when I was 23 years old, look how much further I'd be. I'd be 7 years into this, and da 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 da. And it's a silly comment off the cuff comment that I made because we're exactly where we're supposed to be. And whether that's because we limit ourselves to that, outside forces limit ourselves to that, we're where we're supposed to be. So for me, it's taken me just over 2 years to get to the point where I'm at now, making all the moves that I've taken, building all the reputation that I've done, building the show, building books, and the experience, and that was the thing that got me, was the experience that I would have been cutting out had I said at 23 years old, no, I'm done. I'm out. Mm-hmm. I would have missed some of the most important lessons in my life to date had I just been like, oh no, I really wish I had started this sooner. Yeah, I guess in my case it's because was so young anyway at the time, versus if I was 40 or 50 and I said, man, I wish I had started this 10 years earlier. Well, if I had started 10 years earlier, I wouldn't be where, I probably would, but I don't know. It's hard to say. Because I wouldn't have had these key experiences in my life that taught me some extremely valuable lessons through my own mistakes, because as we know, experience is because you made mistakes somewhere along the way, and we learn from them and it becomes experience. And of course they say, oh, well, there are no mistakes and da-da-da-da. Yeah, there aren't, but they weren't good choices either, right? They just weren't the right choices at the time. So what I think is that I wish that I just wish I could move faster. It's okay, I've done all this in 2 years. It actually is when I sit back and look at what I've created in just a 2-year span, I'm impressed myself. And that's really what I strive for. And that's going back to earlier when I said about being the best that we can be for ourselves. And because I've, before this stretch of 2 years, I had done I did some things here and there, and that kind of impressed myself. And you surprise yourself with what you were able to accomplish. But when I look back now, I'm like, wow, I did a lot to make up for all that time that I was learning all these things along the way. Where had I just started sooner, I would have missed out on the experience that led me to here. So sometimes it's just wishful thinking that we think that, I really wish we had started sooner. A great example of that is Morgan Freeman, who didn't start acting until he was 50 or something to that effect.
Or Rodney Dangerfield, who didn't really start becoming popular until it's many years into his career.
Popular. The difference there is. If he didn't even start until he was 40, he was doing his own job, he was doing his job thing or whatever, maybe a little bit here and there, he dabbled in telling jokes to his friends or something, but then all of a sudden he was like, you know what, I'm 40, I'm going to take it serious and I'm just going to quit my job and we're going to go do this thing, or at least start taking it more seriously to the point of quitting his job. To do it, so a little bit different, but yeah, same, along the same lines. It's tough to admit because we want to think that we knew better, that we believed better, and while we may have thought better, that wasn't enough. Thinking isn't enough action, and so I know I'm slow at things. I know that I've been criticized in the past for being all talk and no go. And that really bothered me. Like, really, really bothered me. Because I know that I try to calculate everything that I do. I know that I'm not the quickest at getting the answer sometimes. I know that I'm not the quickest at, because I am a bit of a procrastinator, but I know that where I'm heading, and to me, there's always a plan because I'm thinking, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 steps ahead. Whereas if I just take action, that to me that isn't always good enough, because I want more solid ground. I want more of a parachute. I want more of a runway to get off the ground, and I want to build that runway, and I want to do it really, really well. So we had to watch, as I said in my talk from last week, we had to watch about perfection, because perfection can stop us in our tracks. And that isn't always necessarily what I'm trying to obtain. I've tried to get better at not obtaining perfection every time. But it depends on how big of a risk it is, right? It's all about the risk reward. If the risk is too big, maybe I want to take a few extra steps to figure it out before I just jump right in and say, oh, well, this little reward is going to be amazing. And that's one of the reasons why, like, some of my projects, I wanted to do a second follow-up album to Adventuratorium. But I know how much time it's going to take away from everything else that I'm doing. And I know that the return on that time is not going to be as great as it needs to be for where I am at life now. But, something like Adventuratorium was an amazing opportunity for me to see what it's like to be a freelance artist, for a lack of a better word. And it opened my eyes to, like, hey, I could do these amazing things, and I can work from home and create them. Now, it's an awful lot of work, especially with that album, because I love to DJ, but I'm not professional DJ guy that's been I've been DJing for over 10 years now, but it's not been a consistent 10 years. It's not like I've been morning, noon, night, and day all the time DJing. So it took me time to get my skills up and get those cuts and get those the music and everything to line up just the right way, especially with something that was like almost 2 hours long. Like, that's a lot of music to have to cram into something. So developing other skills to make that happen. Those skills, though, led me into podcasting, and led me into doing interviews on podcasts, and led me into this idea like, oh man, this would be amazing. And now here we are. Now we're broadcasting on Facebook Live. We're on YouTube. I'm doing talks. Books have been written. We're gonna write more books. There's just so many awesome things that are like in the works. It's just slow. Well, it's especially slow now because Ava's here, but we're gonna get there. And that's one of the things I love about doing the show is I don't have to edit anymore. So it's like, as soon as we're done this, I'm just slapping this pre-show in with the interview, and we're going to town, and we're gonna upload it, and that's it. And before, I used to spend hours editing this because perfection was like, oh, if I have the perfect edits with the perfect guests, they're gonna bring the guest. My guests are gonna bring in their audience, and they're gonna hear this perfect show, and they're gonna love it, and they're just gonna want more of it. And that's not really how it happened, because as it turned out, people didn't share the show the way I thought they would or should necessarily. And when they got here, they didn't have a reason to stick around because Joe Pardo wasn't showing his personality. Joe Pardo wasn't part of the show. It was his guest show. I was honoring my guests, and that's one of the things I absolutely love about doing the show now, where I can honor my guests. I can honor my guests even more now than before, because now the interviews can be totally spot on, just about them. And the important thing is now I have the pre-show where I can take a half hour, an hour, however long it takes to get me out there, to put me, my flavor and my expertise and my experience and my take on things out into the world with my show. And at the same time highlight these people. So that's one of the reasons I absolutely love it. I love that we're on Facebook Live. I love that we have comments in the chat. I love that it's just, to me, it's the whole experience now that I was missing before, and I'm just so grateful for everybody that's been along on this ride. It's been an amazing 2 years. I don't think that for me to go and build something from scratch and not use the star power of a known brand is amazing. If I had a Disney podcast, oh, you love Disney? Oh, listen to my Disney podcast. You know what I mean? People identify with that brand power. But there's no, my show isn't super, super niched to be like, oh, it's Disney, so you're going to love it because you love Disney. It's people that connect with this idea of, yeah, it's entrepreneurs, yeah, it's business, yeah, it's, management, yeah, it's people doing things that they love, making a difference in the world. It's all of that. The people coming together for the common thread of thinking, and thinking different, if you will, to borrow a term from Apple. So it's tough. It's really, really tough. And I think that I've done a wonderful job, if I do say so myself, bringing the best that I can together for a platform like this. And it's going to continue to get bigger, especially now as I'm speaking more, which I'm going to get to a little bit in a moment here. It's, I don't know. I don't think I could imagine where, well, I did because I did so many calculations and like foreseeing and stuff. I did see where I was heading. I just didn't think it was going to take this long to get to where I'm at. But I've learned so much along the way. And as I was telling somebody earlier today, actually, it's actually kind of a shame that I've learned so much and I have so many skills and so many different so many skills in so many areas that it's actually almost hard to market myself because I have so many things that I can do and so many things I bring to the table that's actually like really, really tough to not be super focused. Like in some ways I kind of wish I was just super hyper focused on like one thing that I could be like, hey, I do this one thing and you can pay me $500 an hour to do it because I'm like the best at doing it. But I'm not that way. And I really hate the term, and I've mentioned this on the show before, I really hate the term jack of all trades because when people say that, it gets under my skin. Because you know what it says to me? It says to me that, well, do you want the hater version or you want the politically correct version?
Assuming the hater version would be the full phrase, which would be jack of all trades, master of none, which is suggesting that I'm a little good at all these things, but I wouldn't be the guy you would call if you wanted this one particular job done, because you could go get, the expert over here. That's his thing. He only does this, and that's all he ever does. But so many things now aren't one particular branch. Like, you wouldn't say, oh, let me just call the computer guy. Like, fix it, computer guy. Well, this is a networking issue. Well, fix it. Yeah, but I'm a programmer. I don't handle the networking thing. But you're the computer guy. Like, no, you want a programmer / networking guy. You don't just want one or the other. And that's just one example, but that's not how people would see it. Like it's when you're looking to pigeonhole somebody into into whatever category that you can associate with your level of familiarity with the task at hand.
Right. Well, see, and the way that I bring that together is through like with business consulting, right? Consulting for these businesses. The thing is businesses run on technology. I have the technology background. I have the business background. So I'm not one or the other. Sure, I'm not a master at computers, but I'm also no slouch. And I'm not a master at business, but I'm no slouch either. And I can merge the two and show people how to be more efficient, optimize their businesses, get more out of them because of the technology. If I only understood business, then I would be severely lacking and have to go get somebody else from the outside that would understand the technology to bring it in. And then I'd probably be sitting there saying, well, why can't I just do this? And do this, and I wanted to do this, and it's like, but it doesn't work that way because the software isn't designed to do that, and here's why it's not designed to do that. Like, I can explain that versus if I was just one or just the other, and figuring out how they merge. So yeah, to me that term, the master of all, or whatever, jack of all trades, master of none, like, gets under my skin, but at the same time, I try not to let things bother me too much, and especially now because I feel like I've gotten past that level of like, I'm just gonna say caring about what other people think when it comes to that kind of stuff, because I know my skills where they're at. I understand what they're worth. I understand that I don't have the client base to get my price up to where I know that it should be at yet, but I know that I'm working towards that. And once I fill up my pipeline with jobs that are at a certain price that I charge now, you better believe the price is going up. And it's going to continue to go up until I get to where I know that what I'm worth. And knowing what your self-worth is tough. It really is, right? And I think I had mentioned this last week about the whole, don't work for cheap, you either work for free or you work for full price. And because you don't, and Melissa was getting on me about this the other, actually today, about me and the word salty, and she's like, "Why are you using that word all the time?" I was like, "I don't know, because you don't want me to use the other S word that would go along with it." So it just makes salty just sounds a lot, friendlier, but gets the point across that I want to do work that at a price that doesn't make me feel like I'm being taken advantage of. And it's tough because at the same time, and I had to, I explained this to one of my clients, is like, I really want to help people. Like when I have people that reach out to me and they're like, well, I don't have a lot of money to do this, but this is what I want to do. How much can you just like quote me on it? And I've had quite a few people say it. And I'm like, well, here's the thing. If I just quote you a price, you're going to end up seeing the power of what I'm giving you, and you're going to want more. It's just like we got some housework done on the house. You may have seen it on Facebook. I know Matt, you saw it in person when you on your way in. But when you start doing projects like that around the house, it's like, it starts out as one thing, and it starts as you start to do that project, you start to see like, this is what the potential could be. And what if we did this? And what if we do that? And now maybe price brings you back down to earth. But the thing is you might make that jump, and if it's like, you quoted me one price, why can't you just throw in these extra things? It's like, because it's going to take more time. It takes more care. It takes more materials. Time is the thing, That's the thing. So for me, it's like, especially when it comes to people, if it's for your business. Like if it's for your business and you're in business to make money, I need to make money too. Like I can't justify doing it for free, the time really, because if I do it for free, you're not like I just helped your business. I just helped you make money, and I'm not making any money at myself. Like that doesn't help anybody. And I wouldn't Matt, if you owned a grocery store, I wouldn't go to that grocery store every day and be like, "Oh, you're gonna give me a discount, right?" Because I want you to still be there tomorrow, right? I don't want here comes that Joe guy taking all my bread for like a third of the price just because he knows he knows me. That doesn't do anybody any good. It doesn't do the local economy. It doesn't do anything. It's not good. Now, again, that doesn't mean I won't help give advice and point somebody in the right direction. That I don't mind. If it only takes me, 30 seconds or a minute to point someone in the right direction and it helps them and it helps their business, that's fine. But they're the ones going to do the work. They're the ones that are going to take that time. They're the ones that are going to have to figure out what I meant when I said blah, 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 blah. You know, they're the ones that are going to have to do the Google searches. Now, if they want to skip all that, then they can pay me. You know, but at the same time, like I said, like I want to help people. I want to be there for people. I want to deliver more than I probably should, but I can't always do that because of time. You know, a minute here, 2 minutes there, even 10 minutes is not a problem. But when we start getting to an hour, that's a problem. I know somebody who just started charging for their Skype calls. You know, they were like, oh, so many people were jumping on. They were like, oh, let's just jump on a Skype call and we'll talk for like an hour. And it ended up he was dishing out all kinds of stuff. And it's like he's giving out all kinds of information, like valuable information that basically shortcuts the process to like building a platform, building a podcast, building this, building that. And it started taking up too much of his time. So he's like, look, I'm going to start charging. It's $97 an hour. I'll sit on Skype all day and talk with you for $100 an hour. I'll give you everything you need to know. I'll give you all those shortcuts, all the things that you don't want to read, all those things, all those articles that you don't want to search out and find. I'll cut through all that for you. But you gotta help me out here because I got bills too. Or you need to invest the time. And the thing is that time is going to be a lot of time because you're going to have to make a lot of mistakes. You're going to have to gain a lot of experience to get to that. And that's the one thing people don't quite understand. Like when I go to conferences, when I go and invest in courses, when I go and I do, learn things, build businesses, build websites, do anything, all of that is time and effort. And it's all cultivated in me, so it's worth something. Like, because it becomes that shortcut for somebody else. You know, you don't have to use the shortcut, but if you want to invest the 5, 6, 7, 10 hours, 12 hours, beating your head into the desk like I have plenty of times, be my guest. That's fine. Doesn't bother me at all, and I'll even help you, point you in the direction by giving you the blueprint of what it is that you need to do. But I'm not going to be the one that does it. Simple as that. So it's tough. It's tough because, like I said, I really want to be there for people and I want to do stuff, but at the same time, especially when it's for a business, you just can't. I can't justify doing that. Because you're there to make money. I'm doing it to help you make money. So that was a really long way of saying that we are where we're supposed to be, doing what we're supposed to be doing, making the building the experience that we're supposed. I want to keep saying mistakes, but they're not really mistakes. They're just not the right answers. But those not right answers bring together to make experience. Let's see. I wrote an article, Matt, over the weekend about, do you have the power to let power go?
How so?
Okay, so if this was specifically for like a business or an entrepreneur, really entrepreneurs, right? Because entrepreneurs, we do a lot of things on our own. I know I do. I'm more or less a one-man band here. I have a couple people that help me here. You help me by being here. I have, excuse me, Amy J helps me with some of the emails for Podcast Mid-Atlantic. And Melissa's helped me a bit, but for the most part, I'm a one-man band here. And part of that, and as entrepreneurs, and even as business owners too, as specifically small business owners, we run into this problem of we don't want to relinquish power because somebody else isn't going to do it the way we do. We set our sights on perfection, and when we don't get perfection, it really lets us down. So we're like, oh, well, it's just easier for me to do it myself. So I was at a client today, and he was explaining to me that he works till 1 a.m. on Mondays. Till 1 a.m. Like he'd gotten in at work at like 8 or 7 or whenever he got it, like early in the morning, and he'll be there till he's there right now. he'll be there until 1 a.m. Working because that's his busy day, and his non-busy days are till 12. And I asked him, I said, well, why don't you make a lot of money here, you enjoy it, whatever, but why don't you hire a little more help? And he's like, well, the problem is everything is up here. It's all in here. And that's a problem, right? Because I was like, man, what if you're like sick and you can't come in on a Monday? He's like, oh, I come in even if I'm sick. And I'm like, no, but like, what if you're really sick? Like sick, like pneumonia sick, or can't get out, like you just can't physically get out of bed sick. What are you going to do? He's like, oh, well, it's just never happened before, so I never really thought about it. And I'm like, huh. Now, I would love to go in there, and I would love to help figure out a way for him and his business to be able to thrive more efficiently than 1 a.m. I like, he was explaining some of what they do at the business and all, and I'm like, well, that's tough. It's tough because you're doing so many transactions in a week, and I get that. It's got to be really tough. But to me, there's always a way. There's always something better, and that's part of that whole marrying the technology with, like, maybe there's a step in the process that they just don't see because they're doing it all the time, and they're spending so much time in the process rather than on the business, right? Working in your business versus on your business, and working towards the ability to, hey, if I'm sick, it's okay, things can continue to go on, and it'll be okay. It's really tough, but it's also tough for somebody who's in it like that to think that anybody else could really understand that stuff. But that doesn't mean that you couldn't set up procedures to make that easier. So, like, I'm not there to help him with that process. I'm there to help him put a better website together, which is fine. But who knows? Maybe in the next couple times I go and hang out, maybe I talk him, and maybe I'll talk him into letting me go one night and just hang out and just watch the process till 1 a.m. and help break down how they can make it more efficient and go through some of these ways that they just don't know, because they don't know all the technology that's out. Not that I know all the technology, but what I do know is Google search. If you give a man a fish versus teach him how to fish, well, if you teach a person how to Google search, it can be a life-changing experience for sure. So it's tough though, as business owners, to let that power go, to give somebody else the power to make those decisions. But as you know, and as you see, when it comes to corporate America, when it comes to companies that make it to that next level, going from small to medium, from medium to large, to Fortune 500, those companies are the ones that relinquished power. They relinquish power, and the owner itself steps up into a role of working on the business rather than in the business. Sure, we all have to fill in here and there or whatever it is, and that's that happens. This is what life is about. You see a problem and you fix it, and that's, as I've said before, entrepreneurs are professional problem solvers. So that's what we do. But it's tough to make that's to step back and accept that somebody else can learn this stuff, that somebody else can learn it and maybe not have enough power where they can steal a whole lot from you. It's tough. It's really tough. But that's where technology's got to come in play. And that's where I come into play. That's where I come into play with the technology background and the business background, to understand the business and understand how technology can interact with the business. So go check out that article. I don't know what the link is, but if you go to superjoepardo.com, like this link right here, you can go check out the article that I wrote about do you have the power to let power go? I want to give a shout out to Anthony Hayes, who I just put his brand new website together, me, myself, and I radio.com. Go check it out. I think it came out really slick. Took a few hours, but we get it in. That's how we do. I have a few other websites that I'm working on for some clients, but that's one of my most recent ones. You can go check out me, myself, and I radio.com. Who else did I want to give a shout out to? Oh, you know who I want to give a shout out to, Matt? I want to give a shout out to a name. I don't know. Did you see this letter? Did you see this? Let me show Matt here real quick.
Oh, yep.
You see what that name is?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so I'm gonna hide the address here. I'm gonna throw it up to the camera. Can you see that on the camera? It's like really blurry. Oh, wait. Oh, there it is. There it is. Okay. So, the name on this piece of mail is Ash Resner, which, for those that don't know, when I was growing up, in the time of the internet, and being only like, not even a teenager yet, we need, when I would sign up for things online, I was like, oh, I'm underage. I shouldn't use my real name. So I made up a name, Ash Resner. Ash and you see the poster behind me here, the Evil Dead poster, main character's name is Ash. Does he have a last name? I think he has a last name.
He does, but it escapes me at the moment.
Yeah, I can't think of the last name. But I use, Resner was from of course, Trent Reznor of Nine Inch Nails. And so combined the two and was putting my name out there for like anything I had to sign up for online. This is going back like 96, 97, 98, 99, 2000, 2001, 2002, 3, 4, probably until at least 2003 or 4 I finally stopped and started using my real name. But I still received mail saying Ash Resner. And for the longest time, I was receiving a lot of mail. Like one every maybe 1 to 3 weeks I was getting a piece of mail. So it had been a while since I got one. But apparently, AAA Insurance wants to get Ash Resner at this address signed up for AAA Insurance. Person doesn't exist. So stop sending mail for a fake person. Which makes me wonder if I could get a credit card at some point under a fake name. I bet you I could do it.
If animals can get credit cards, I'm pretty sure you can get a credit card under a fake name.
Yes, probably. There was something else I wanted to talk about. So, speaking of insurance, I got a letter here from Allstate Insurance. Now, the reason I bring this up is because when it comes to customer experiences, I'm all about customer experiences. Experiences seem to be a poppin' word, as the kids say these days. So on here it says your courtesy. I can't even read it. I think it says your courtesy quotes inside with a smiley face. So there's like you can actually see it, like it's handwritten on the side of the letter. Now I get a lot of junk mail, and there's some of them that make it look like it's a written letter, even though it's clearly not a written letter. But this is actually written. So I opened up the quote because there was something written on the front of it. So it made me think like, somebody actually took the time to do this, to prepare this said quote. What's funny about this is it says prepared by Sam, but then it's very clearly written Stephanie has written her name and included her business card on it. And then at the bottom, she actually wrote a whole bunch of stuff. And it says, hey, Melissa and Joseph, give me a call, please, at the bottom here, which I thought was pretty. I'm going to show this to the camera, so if you're watching on Facebook Live or on YouTube, you can see it. So it's actually written out in purple marker, purple pen. And I thought that it was so interesting that I figured I would keep it and at some point would talk about it on the show. And here I am talking about it. I just think it's really neat that somebody would take the time to like write anything on a mass, basically a mass mailer. Adding a personal touch, creating that personal connection and that feeling of, I don't know, was it the reciprocity, feeling the need to be like connected to something that somebody took the time to write on makes all the difference. This was one more time on the camera here. It makes all the difference. Really neat. Good job, Stephanie. Now I don't know that we'll be switching anytime soon, but it is in my mind now, and it hasn't left my desk since May 24th. So it's been on my desk for a while. So not a bad tactic for sure. I guess on the last thing I want to talk about here is it was Father's Day yesterday. Spending my first Father's Day as a father was pretty cool. We on Saturday we went down to my dad's boat, hung out there for a while. A long while, actually, like afternoon to like 10:30 at night. We were actually watching. They have fireworks in Atlantic City now. Yeah, on Saturday nights they have fireworks over at the Tropicana. Pretty cool. And we watched them from the boat, and it was really cool. I really enjoyed it. And then on Sunday we went to her aunt's house, and I got this really sweet card. If you're watching on Facebook Live or YouTube, it's really sweet for Daddy Minnie Mouse card. It's definitely a special feeling. I don't know of any better way to put it. But hopefully, knock on wood, it'll be the first of many. All right, so I think that pretty much wraps up this episode 235's pre-show. If you stay tuned till after the jump, you can listen to Nicole Bogard talk about all kinds of entrepreneur travel stuff and speaking and doing all kinds of awesome things. Shout out to David Michael. I almost said Michael David. David Michael for recommending her for the show. Matt, I really appreciate you coming on the show as always.
Hey, thank you for having me.
And before we go though, I gotta show. There's another camera angle now in the room. See if I hit this button. Now you can actually see back here. So look forward to some videos maybe utilizing this camera angle in my office, in my studio here. And yeah, that's what's up. Oh, bunch of speaking opportunities next Wednesday. Next Wednesday I'll be speaking in Philadelphia at a podcasting meetup called Philly Pod Talk. If you search it up on meetup.com, you can find it there. I was supposed to speak on Wednesday of this week, but unfortunately it got pushed back because apparently the mayor's office of Camden is coming in and they want to talk. So I got bumped, but it's all good. No big deal. I'll definitely be speaking at HopeWorks at some point in the near future. And then we have the UN talk in July, in the middle of July coming up. And I have a bunch of more talks coming up soon. I just don't have any official dates to announce anything yet, but I have been hustling my butt off to make it happen. So hopefully we're gonna get more talks in very, very soon here. Looking forward to spreading the word of Dreamers Podcast and hashtag How to Dream, and just having people, helping people do what it is, Matt. Do what they love. That's what it's all about. So stay tuned for after the jump here. You can check out the interview with Nicole Bogard. And thank you, everybody, for joining me here on the pre-show. I look forward to talking to you next week.